If you are currently struggling with overcoming your limited beliefs, you are in the right place. It can be absolutely frustrating, exhausting, and overwhelming to try to make changes in your life, knowing you have these limited beliefs, but no matter what you do, no matter what technique you try, you continually end up with the same results. Well, today I'm going to break down why that's happening, but more importantly, I'm going to share what you can do to start breaking that cycle, to leverage the power you have and start making that change now. Hey, my name is Abby, and today we are going to be breaking down how you can overcome your limiting beliefs. Before we do so, if you are interested in working with me one-on-one in regards to your limiting beliefs right now, so that we can not only identify them, but snip them, and you can start creating that momentum that you know is inside of you, getting you into the experience of whatever it is that you want to manifest. The information to schedule a session is below. It is a donation-based payment system, meaning there's a $30 minimum payment, and if you want to donate more, great. If $30 is what you got, great. Either way, we're going to work together to shift your perspective. We will be using Skype, so if you're from another country, just know that phone number does not matter as long as you leave your Skype ID. So let's get back to the video. Realize that part of the dynamic of the struggle of limiting belief, and this is from a personal experience, I was holding on to my limiting beliefs, waiting for the outside world to change so it would give me certainty and proof, so that then I would let go. Spoiler alert, that doesn't work. That would be like holding on to this. Imagine this is your limiting beliefs, right? All of this is filled with lack, it's filled with rejection, it's filled with all sorts of things that you no longer want to experience. Now here I come in with this beautiful new cup of coffee, this peacock, this is my partner, her beautiful coffee cup. So here is what I have right now, my limiting beliefs. They once kept me safe, and now I'm suffering from them. Now here's everything I wanted, but if I'm holding on to this brown cup, it's full of the things I don't want, I can't actually, this is a beautiful cup of coffee. I can't get it. I can't receive it. So I've got to let go. Part of that's recognition of when you're doing it so that I can receive. You cannot also manifest or experience something that doesn't feel safe. So if you're starting to look at your limiting beliefs, okay, yeah, what would it actually be like to experience a loving relationship, to experience and feel worthy? What would that be like? Oh God, I don't know. That's too much. I can't, right? So you're not associating that that's part of yourself. So again, we're going to talk about that in just a second. That's next, about how you do this, cultivate a relationship with it. It is not going to happen to you. It is going to happen from you. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Your new beliefs that are filled with all the abundance, all the love that you deserve, it's not going to happen to you. It's not going to come in from the outside world and then you feel so wonderful. You are going to happen to it. It is going to be a reflection of you that you're seeing then in your outside world. As you probably know, the struggle is going to happen, and maybe you've experienced that so far, and then you get in a situation, you're like, oh, but look, my money's running out. Oh, but look, they've rejected me again. What is the meaning you are making about that situation? That is one of the biggest things you can do. If you're using it to perpetuate your emotional connection to lack, your emotional connection to rejection.
Emotional connection to rejection.
That feels like a weird after school. Remember those like after school special kind of things, right? Where they had those like kind of funky little tunes. But anyway, I'm sidetracking. What you got to do is realize that you are causing the effect, right? The Newtonian, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about this. The Newtonian way of seeing things is that outside changes, then I change inside. That I don't have permission to change the way I feel until the outside thing happens. Now we know that life is a mirror, and I've done in other of my videos that I'm standing in front of a mirror, and it's like, hey, the mirror's not going to change until I do. So a quantum model would be, I am causing the effect in my outside world. And if something's not aligning, I can go back and use it as, okay, well, maybe part of me is still locked into that old belief. What can I do to let go? I'm not gaslighting myself. I'm not denying the reality that's happening and being disrespectful with myself or even irresponsible. I am actually having a higher level of response because I am responding to it. I'm saying, okay, this belief is still inside. What can I do to let it go? What does it need to be processed? Why do I still believe that I'm not good enough? Why do I still believe that I'm not able to make a change in my life? Why do I feel like I don't have agency? And a big one here is actually if you grew up with a parent who was maybe a helicopter parent, or they were smothering, they meant the best, but they always question your decisions. Oh, you can't do that. Here, let me do it. And you have the opposite too, maybe more of a demanding and an abrasive parent. Are you serious with that? That's the best you can do? I don't think so. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And you live your life with that echo of the parent. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Do I even have agency? Can I actually change my life? When you struggle with that and you feel powerless, you gotta automatically look at childhood, because childhood is the time when you are powerless. As an adult, you do have agency, but if you're living off of a dynamic where you feel imprisoned, that you don't have a choice, you gotta see, okay, why do I feel like I have a choice? Well, when I was little, I didn't feel like my decisions were good. Am I good at decisions? That questioning, that voice of questioning is not yours. I recommend you read at least the first 4 chapters of Conquering Your Critical Inner Voice, because it basically teaches us that we internalize our parent, and if we had an overbearing, questioning, doubt-filled parent, worrying parent, we are going to internalize that voice and think it's our own, but it's not. As you start to recognize it and let it go, you'll actually be able to move towards your authentic way of being. You want to understand that your current reality, your current circumstances, no matter if it's about romantic relationship, if it's about amount of money or a job, no matter what's happening in your life right now, it is created by the beliefs you have, meaning your current, potentially unconscious beliefs are what has created your current circumstances, not because you're bad, not because you're unworthy, simply because that's how you see yourself. So how you see yourself is externalized in your outside world. The great news is, drum roll, is that it's not concrete, it's not permanent. Your outside life right now is basically a replay or an echo of past or potentially current beliefs. You can change it. You created these beliefs that are currently limiting you in the experiences you want. That means that you can change them to create a belief that aligns with that desired outcome. And as you know, if you've watched other of my videos, I'm very visual. So let's break down what I just said into something that's a picture. As soon as we have a very anticlimactic pin pop off. So here we go. So this is you. And what do I mean that your beliefs are externalized? Okay, you were growing up, right? You were a child once, as was I. And you grew up in an environment. Well, part of what you were doing is trying to fit into your early on tribe. Because why? Because of safety. You needed your family to accept you and to make you part of the family so that you would stay alive. They would feed you, they would keep you safe from predators, right? From the outside world. Whatever you experienced, what you perceived is the most important thing. So if you perceived that you had to cut off your needs in order to fit in order to connect, that could be a belief that you need to abandon yourself, that you need to neglect yourself so that you can have connection. You could grow up in your family and money was always stressful, right? There was never quite enough. It was always, you had to work really, 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 really hard and you never quite got it. Other people could get it, but not you and your family, right? So you adopted their beliefs. So these things are not absolutely true. That they're not universal truths. They're not like the law of gravity. However, you believe them unconsciously, specifically if these were adapted or adopted prior to 7 years old. And why prior to 7 years old? Because from the last trimester of your biological mother to 7 years old, you're in theta brainwave. The reason theta is so important is because that is the brainwave of your subconscious. So you basically took notes as a little wee one and you're like, oh, okay, so money is hard to get. Okay, I'm going to make a note of that. Okay, I need to abandon myself. I need to go out of my world into somebody else's world in order to connect. I learned that's how I grew up, not because of what my parents were doing, not because of what my family was demanding, because that's what I perceived I needed to do. I needed to pay more attention to somebody else to get connection, and no one was there to connect to me. I always had to leave myself to do it because that's what I perceived I needed to do. So that remained unconscious in my life. And this, we can use this as an example. So what do you think I manifested for most of my life until I was fortunate and blessed to become aware of this dynamic? Because this was in my body, in my unconscious beliefs, all I could see through my little perceptual bias lenses was, boom, somebody I had to go into their world so that I could try to connect. I was unconsciously recreating a dynamic of how I thought love worked, how I thought connection worked, because it was unaddressed and it was a belief I had from childhood. One of the reasons you're struggling with changing the limited beliefs is because you're not aware of them. You're not aware of that your reality right now is not there to show you that you're not capable, is not there to limit you. It's there to just reflect back what's in here. So it is helpful. Can it be painful? Absolutely. But one of the ways you can get out of that struggle is realizing, oh, my life right now is a mirror. So rather than give in, even though it's very tempting, it can be very difficult to do this because it seems and feels so real. And there are real world situations, obviously. But what I'm meaning is your reflection, your experiences, the dynamics energetically that you have in your outside world, whether it be about love, whether it be about money or job or whatever, is a reflection of a belief. If you can start to see, okay, I'm starting to get this dynamic. Okay, I'm starting to feel like I have to abandon myself. These people are starting to ghost me. Where am I with me? What I personally experienced is when I would find people who were emotionally unavailable, I was actually the most unavailable to myself because I was more concerned with them doing something so I'd feel better. I was outsourcing that state of connection with myself, so all I could find was people who were also too rejecting me or abandoning me. It started with me who did it. It took me a long time and a lot of pain to see that dynamic. But when I realized, oh, for one, that belief, that limited belief actually at one point kept me safe. So it created a safety barrier around me. But as I grew out of it, and like when I was a kid, that helped. But as I grew older into adult, it actually was a prison. It imprisoned me to a state of suffering. And when I became aware of, oh, actually, what if I expanded the relationship with myself and I no longer abandoned myself? As I started to recognize my behavior, which we'll talk about more at the end of this video, that's when I began to have the opportunity to make a new choice in the moment. Ultimately, that helps to basically tap into the power of neuroplasticity by recognizing being present in the moment of opportunity. When you want to be triggered, a trigger isn't a negative thing. Now, absolutely, it can end up in a very intense emotional experience, especially if you continue to react and respond the same way. But a trigger is to bring your awareness to a part of you that needs help. It needs more healing. It needs assistance in being recognized so that you can process it and you can transmute it into wisdom. But as long as you continue to respond the same way, probably a dynamic of childhood when you felt powerless, if you continue to react the same way, you're going to get the same results. When you start to just become aware, even if your body wants to get mad, snap, it wants to ghost, it wants to leave people out, it wants to do all these things, you've got to expand past that. And again, we're going to talk about that more later. All right, I've been talking about what to actually do when you're struggling with limiting beliefs. Well, the first thing you got to do is recognizing it in the moment. For instance, what does that look like? That looks like, for me personally, if I have a history and I have an impulse, a strong impulse of self-rejection and abandonment, jealousy. That's the dynamic of jealousy. It's, I'm afraid I'm not going to get what I want, that connection I want, so I'm going to leave me. So when I start to make the meaning, oh, something's going on with him, it must be me. Oh, I'm making it about me. I'm rejecting myself right now. And then I'll breathe, trying to calm my body, trying to keep it out of that stress response, thinking that I'm in danger because, again, I'm replaying a dynamic that I perceived as a child, that I needed to constantly check in with other people or I was going to be left all alone. So when I realize it in the present moment, okay, I'm starting to feel like this person's going to go. I have fear that I'm going to be abandoned right now, that I'm going to be rejected. I got to stay with me, and then I'm going to choose to make a choice that it's going to expand life in me, that I'm going to do my duty of self-growth. I'm going to do some breathing. Maybe I go meditate. Maybe I do an art project. Maybe I go for a walk. Maybe I call a friend to connect. I'm not trying to deny it. I'm not trying to delude myself. I'm not trying to gaslight myself, but I'm taking that energy of self-rejection and I'm investing it in me. I'm giving me what I want, which is connection. So in the moment, realize what's going on in that belief. Again, this is where you want to respond quickly and you want to respond automatically, but you've got to expand your awareness in that moment. Breathe. The second thing you can do to help with this struggle of the limiting beliefs is go back. Go back to when it was actually created. Use your adult mind to go back to you as a little kid and realize it was not about you. That you created that for a reason, and that reason is no longer relative in your life. So that belief helped you, you can thank it, and you can release it. Releasing it is going to allow you to accept and adapt and adopt a belief that is actually relevant and supportive in your life. You can only do that if you use your adult mind, 2022, and go back to 1984, go back to 1972, go back to 1991, whatever the year was, because you have so many more skills, you have so much more life experience, and you can see that with that growth of mind that can help that little you and let that part of you come full circle and stop buffering and allow that to heal by processing it. And the third and last thing you can do to help you with this struggle of these limiting beliefs and overcoming them and allowing you to feel that you have agency is what do? You want to get to know it. You don't have these experiences in your body, so you want to use visualization. You want to use meditation to step out of your current life and all basically the structure of your limited beliefs and create what would it be like if I was abundant? What would it be like to be in a safe, loving relationship? What would it be like to be respected and valued at my job? What would it be like if I was seen and valued by others? You really got to stop and think, I've not really felt that. So what would that be like? That's going to allow basically your CEO of your mind to look out into the world, your past experiences, even just aspects of it. You can look out into the world on people you see and start to weave a different vision. That essentially is a new intention. As you start to just ask yourself open-ended questions, what would it be like? Who would I be? How would I move in the world? The last 10 minutes before you go to sleep and the first 10 minutes when you're waking up, you're back in that theta brainwave. You can start tapping into those experiences in your body and start creating a relationship with those new beliefs inside of you. Start creating experiences and really an anchor of what you want to feel like throughout the day. Anytime you start to be aware that you're out of that, I'm doing the old thing, got to come to the new thing. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel different. It's going to be uncertain. It's going to feel scary. Realize that your manifestation is in the unknown. You have not experienced it yet, or you would not be watching this video. Something no one ever talks about is that your manifestation, for me personally, having that safe, secure, loving relationship and being seen was actually really scary. Even though I've always wanted it, actually feeling it was really different and amazing in every way. However, very uncomfortable because I'd never experienced it. So realize uncomfortable and unfamiliar and uncertainty is paving the way towards the life and the experience and those new beliefs that curate and hold that space. You deserve it and you're worth it. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, click that like below. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe, get on over here and join the family. And if you like this video, I recommend you watching this one next. I love y'all and I'll see you on the next one.